yeah, maybe tariffs will cause a little inflation, get over it, like, and, maybe, we were, after January 6th, we were all outraged, but, and I don't want to single out any one particular prominent news anchor on any one particular cable station, but that outrage is now past. And so we are seeing this not just within the Republican Party, we are seeing this among the legacy media, we are seeing it among the business world. They're all just afraid of Donald Trump, and they're all just bowing down to him, which is the reason why, the work you do is so important, because, you and I can talk about it, and like, we're not afraid of Donald Trump.
Well, to that point, I think this is the perfect opportunity then to underscore the importance of the outlet that you founded. That's Democracy Docket, which focuses on everything voting in elections. It has become one of the most important sources of fearless journalism, and that stands in stark contrast to what we've seen from the rest of legacy media, which, of course, is bending over backwards to imbue more goodwill onto Trump in hopes that it'll be reciprocated for their billionaire owners. So I'll put the link to Democracy Docket right here on the screen and also in the post description of this video. Mark, I understand that these people are going to be overtly deferential to Donald Trump, but even they have to recognize how there is no way in which this is going to benefit anything other than Trump's fragile ego. So knowing that these people all have a vested interest in helping themselves and the party more broadly, is there some other motive that they have here? Is there some ulterior motive that would drive them to make this decision?
Yeah, I do think there is. If you look at one of the executive orders that Donald Trump issued was, in the Orwellian way that they name things, it was the one to prevent weaponization of government. What he requires in that executive order is every branch and department of the federal government to look at the actions of the federal government, their agency, over the last 4 years, and write a report to the White House about how the Biden administration weaponized government against Donald Trump. Okay, so like literally the executive order begins with the premise that there has been weaponization by the Biden administration and asks them to write a report to justify it. And I think that this congressional reopening of January 6th is the House's effort to get themselves healthy by tag teaming that, right? In other words, this is going to be part of a larger effort by Republicans to revisit the last 4 years and to try to now sustain a public narrative that, in fact, Donald Trump was treated unfairly, which by definition would mean that the House Republicans were treated unfairly, and that when they opposed impeachment, they were right, and when they defended him, they were right. In other words, I think that there is a symbiotic relationship going on here in that Donald Trump wants to prove that he was the victim. And that allows House Republicans and Senate Republicans, if they find even scintilla of lies that they put forward, then that allows them to connect it up with this and say, you see, and therefore we have not been spinelessly following him. We were actually right all along.
But doesn't, from a political perspective, can't you make the argument, and they themselves are making this argument, that they don't want to look backwards? And so how is relitigating the events of the past, even if it's to massage their fragile egos, even if it's to say, oh, we were right all along, which of course the Trump supporters think they were anyway, Democrats know they weren't anyway, so it's not going to change anybody's minds by virtue of them doing this. But doesn't doubling down on this "we were right, let's relitigate the events of the past" mentality actually undermine their own ability to move forward and make their case to the American people that they know how to govern?
The thing is, though, they don't know how to govern. I mean, let's remember, the House Republicans, they couldn't govern at all. I mean, they were only able to pass bills last Congress because Democrats provided the margin to pass bills.
Right.
I mean, left to their own devices, they were like getting rid of their speaker. They were locked.
So your contention here is that they need something else, because when left to their own devices, like, what are they going to pass? Bills that have no popular support, trying to ban abortion, which, by the way, they just tried to do today and it was voted down in the Senate. And so there's no legislative priorities that they could actually be successful on.
Yeah. So number one, they don't have any popular policies.
Right.
Number two, they can't pass their unpopular policies.
Yeah.
Right. So
I think they failed to pass like the gas stove bill when they had their majority. Like that was their big call in Congress was, we have to protect gas stoves because Joe Biden's barging into everybody's houses and taking the stoves. They couldn't even get that off the ground.
That's right. So if you're them, the thing that you are hoping that you can sell to the American public is that you were the victims. And remember, this is a party of victims. This is a party that has become constantly the victim of everything. They are constantly saying how, Donald Trump is a victim and they're a victim. And I'm not saying this is good politics, but I'm not sure they have anything more to run on. I mean, what are they going to say? We raised your drug prices, right? We got that. We didn't control inflation because tariffs are going to increase inflation. So it wasn't that. For the people who are into crypto, I mean, Donald Trump made a mockery of the crypto industry.
Even the crypto bros out there are saying like, this is a dumb move. Like, what are they doing? They're making a mockery of us.
Right, exactly. So like this is something that they can do, right? They can set up this committee. They can hold these hearings. It is, like I said, symbiotic with what the White House wants to message about because it's what Donald Trump cares about. And I think that's their plan.
Well, I think the onus will be on folks like us, really, to make sure to hold them to account for the very things that they came into office saying they were going to do, which is to lower the price of groceries, to lower the price of rent, to lower the price of housing. And instead, all of their policies, of course, we know are going to be inflationary, purposefully inflationary. When these tariffs come, it's going to be inflationary. And so, again...
And are you seeing, just when you peruse the television news or when you open a newspaper... Are you seeing the legacy media hold them accountable for that? Are you seeing a lot on eggs? Eggs. We had a lot of eggs stories before the election.
I haven't seen anything on eggs in very much the same way that Republicans will drive the narrative in September, October about migrant caravans, and then come December and January, nothing on migrant caravans. That is the way in which the media in this country allows itself to be gamed. The refs in this country allow themselves to be gamed by the right. They take the bait when the right, heading into the election, talks about, gay people coming into bathrooms to rape your kids, or migrant caravans coming up to flood the country, or the cost of eggs just quadrupling and quintupling, and then come the very moment the election's over, there's no more coverage of that because the right stops talking about that, and so the legacy media sees that their assignment editors are no longer talking about that, and so there's no more incentive for them to do that either.
Yeah, and that's the reality, and it's why we need a new media ecosystem. I mean, first of all, the one that exists is not trusted. It's been discredited in many respects. Yeah. But also, like the right has an entire vast ecosystem that is supported that they use to get their messages out. And I'm thrilled that you and I are I'm not thrilled at a lot right now, but I'm thrilled that you and I are continuing to point these things out.
Well, I'll use that opportunity again for anybody watching right now to support the fearless journalism that Mark and his team do with Democracy Docket. I'll put the link right here on the screen and also in the post description of this video. I'm Brian Tyler Cohen.
I'm Mark Elias.
This is Democracy Watch.